Hey everybody, welcome to week 5 of biology. This is going to be our final lesson in biology, and then we will also have a project. Just a reminder, all of your work for physics and biology is due by June 17th, so please make sure that you have that work done and submitted. Okay, this week we are going to talk about sex-linked inheritance. So that means conditions that are carried on the X and the Y chromosome. So you remember from your notes last week that chromosomes number 1 through number 22 are called autosomes. So autosomes are any chromosomes that do not determine your sex. And then your chromosome pair 23 are what we call the sex chromosomes. So any other genes on the X and Y chromosomes are linked to whether you're male or female based on the pairing of chromosomes that you have. And I want you to just have a look at the X's and the Y chromosomes here. So look at how long this X chromosome is. It has actually got a lot more genes on it than the Y chromosome. The Y chromosome is quite short. It only has a few genes on it. And then I do just want to clarify when we're talking about sex in biology. So you guys have probably all encountered the genderbread person here at some point in your schooling career. We're talking about biological sex here. So somebody can be female and have two X chromosomes. Somebody can be male and have an X and a Y chromosome. People can also be intersex biologically and we looked at a couple examples of this in the karyotyping activity where you have different combinations of X and Y chromosomes. And sometimes you can be intersex even with two X or just one X and a Y based on the hormones that are released. So there is a variety of biological sexes that you can have. We're going to talk about the kind of like binary, like female and male. I do just want to specify that we're not talking about gender when I say female and male. That's a different thing. Okay, so the Y chromosome, again, is really short, doesn't contain very many genes. There's very few conditions that are linked to the Y chromosome. The X chromosome is quite long. It has got a lot of genes on it, aside from the ones that are determining your biological sex. And there are quite a few really well-known conditions that are carried on that X chromosome. So one that you may have heard of before is hemophilia. So hemophilia, this is a picture of a person with a nasty bruise on their knee. Hemophilia actually prevents your blood from clotting properly. So if you bruise yourself, if you cut yourself, you're going to start bleeding, and then your blood is going to clot and form, when you get a scab over a cut, it's clotting. A person with hemophilia doesn't have those blood clotting factors in the same way that a person without hemophilia does. So they're just going to often keep on bleeding, which can obviously be quite a problem because we don't want to lose too much of our blood. So hemophilic people often have to take medication to actually help with blood clotting. Red-green color blindness is also carried on the X chromosome. So you guys have got a picture of a watermelon here, which is red and green. Somebody with red-green color blindness would not be able to distinguish these colors. There is a test at the bottom of these notes that you can do. It's just some images, and you can figure out if you have red-green color blindness. I actually had some of these being photocopied. I was doing a summer work program for a professor at the college that I went to, and I was getting some photocopies of these color blindness tests for her, and we are going to laminate them and everything. And the person who printed and laminated them was asking me about them. And it turns out that he couldn't actually see when you guys if you do the test, he couldn't see the colors in them. And it turns out he had red-green color blindness, but he actually hadn't known for his entire life. He was, I don't know, in his late teens or early 20s for sure. So, yeah, it can be interesting to do that test. You might not be seeing colors that you could be seeing if you didn't have that. All right. So those genes, both the hemophilia and the red-green color blindness, are carried on the X chromosome. So the Y chromosome does not have any genes that affect those two conditions. They're carried on the X chromosome. So we're going to do some Punnett squares that involve sex-linked conditions. And when we're doing sex-linked conditions in Punnett squares, we have to use X's and Y's to specify which chromosomes on it. So here's our alleles. So this is going to look a little bit different. We're not using like just random letters that we're choosing. What we're going to do is use a just kind of standard X is a normal X chromosome, so unaffected. In the case of hemophilia, just regular X is going to be one that does not carry hemophilia. X prime, so an X with a little apostrophe here, is an affected X chromosome. So that's a chromosome that would carry whatever condition we're talking about. And then Y is going to be just a normal Y chromosome. So the X prime is just showing that the X carries whatever allele for either hemophilia or red-green color blindness, or there are other ones as well. And then since we all have pairs of chromosomes, again, we're just going to show, like we have been before, the different possible genotypes and the different possible phenotypes. So we'll go through these. Two unaffected X chromosomes is going to make you a normal biological female. One X that's not affected and one X prime, you are not going to have whatever the disorder is, but you are carrying it. So that's kind of like having a recessive allele where you can, pass it on, right? Two X primes, you are affected. So this person has the condition. Not X prime, just a normal X, normal Y, normal male. X prime and 1Y is an affected male. So he has a condition. So if that's hemophilia or color blindness. So if you notice these, look at how there are three different possibilities for biological females, and there's only two for males. So you actually have more of a chance of not being affected by whatever this sex and condition is if you're a female than if you're a male. So I've made some little props here to kind of go over this a little more in detail. Okay, so you're going to inherit two sex chromosomes. Okay, so these are my X's. I'm going to say that you've inherited two X chromosomes. So X, just the regular one, has an allele for no hemophilia on it. This one's X prime. It has an allele for hemophilia on it. So this normal no hemophilia X is going to mask the hemophilic one. If you are a person who has two X chromosomes, you can also have two alleles for no hemophilia, right? So those are two ways that you can be a female and not have hemophilia. Now let's look at males. Okay, so if you have one allele for no hemophilia, so an X chromosome with no hemophilia, and one Y chromosome, which does not affect hemophilia at all, you do not have hemophilia. But if you have got one affected X, so you've got an allele for hemophilia, and then you've got a Y, you have hemophilia. So a while back in one of the lessons, I said that DNA is redundant because you have two copies of it. So in the case of sex chromosomes, it's not as redundant if you're a male. So it is more likely for you to have a condition because you can't just be a carrier of it. You either don't have it or you have it because the Y chromosome does not have an effect on that specific sex-linked trait. All right. And that's basically what this says here. So normal X is dominant, produces the correct protein, so you don't have whatever it is. And then the Y doesn't really have an effect on it. Okay, so let's make some Punnett squares. So if you have got a father who is XY, does not have hemophilia, so just normal male, And you've got a mom who is a carrier, so they've got one copy of that X prime. And this is an example for red-green color blindness. So we want to know the possible genotypes and phenotypes of the children. So both of these parents do not have red-green color blindness. All right, so now you're combining, we've got the mom's genes, alleles on the side here. We've got the dad's alleles on the top here. So we are going to go combine these two X's. Okay, we've got female, no, not carrier, and also doesn't have hemophilia. We've got this allele combining with this one, and we've got a carrier. I think I just said hemophilia. I meant red green color blindness. My bad. We've got a carrier of red green color blindness, but they don't actually have it. If we combine the X with the Y, we've got a normal male. If we combine the X prime with the Y, okay, we've got a male with hemophilia. So the children's genotypes 25% XX, so that's 25% normal female for phenotype. 25%, this is the XX, but with one of them being X prime. 25% of carriers. We've got 25% XY, normal males, and 25% X prime Y, so 25% colorblind males. All right, so what I want you guys to take away from this is it's actually more likely for males to have or to inherit conditions that are on the X chromosome. So sex-linked conditions are more likely to appear in males. More males have red-green color blindness than females. More males have hemophilia than females. And that is just because of the way that you inherit sex chromosomes. If you don't have that backup copy, if you don't have that redundant DNA, it's more likely that you're going to express that trait. And then, yeah, take this colorblindness test. It's pretty interesting. Maybe you'll find out you're colorblind. Maybe you'll find out that you aren't. But yeah, it's kind of fun. Okay, so try some Punnett squares. Sex-linked conditions are pretty interesting. And there will be some opportunities to look into more sex-linked conditions in the biology project that we're doing. But yeah, have a look through the assignment, work through that, let us know if you have any questions. And then when you get to the genetics project, if you do want to choose a sex-linked condition, just make sure that you have a thorough understanding of this lesson and these Punnett squares so that you're able to do a good job of your project. Thank you for tuning in, and we'll see you later. Bye.